Hi everyone, it's Chenzo from Reality Art Pod. I'm here to recap and review everything that happened on week 10 of Big Brother 25. We'll dive into Bowie Jane's HOH and find out if it was truly exquisite. Before I dive in, if you like these videos, please subscribe so you don't miss out on more. I'm only 15 subscribers away from the goal that I set at the beginning of the season, and thank you to all of you who have stuck around. So let's dive in. At the end of last week, Mimi was evicted, then we had a live HOH. Bowie ended up winning, and I fully expected Bowie to end up doing some degree of Matt and Jag's bidding, and I'd predicted that Corey and America would be nominated and that Cameron would be safe because Cameron's been protecting Bowie for weeks. Let's dive into it and see how this week went. In the previously on, the announcer says that Cole dropped a bomb on the way out. That literally makes no sense. Like, bro, what are you talking about? The house guests have all made jury and they celebrate jumping around. I don't think we've ever been so attached to and informed about a full jury's games in a long time. Bowie says that she accidentally won the HOH. She says that she wrote down something ridiculously low and won. The best way to throw a tiebreaker is actually to write something ridiculously high so that you go over, and I feel like the best way to win is to guess about 75% of what you think the actual answer is so you don't go over. The math on these is usually so bad that if you're smarter than a 5th grader, you can win it. They give us a flashback to Mimi saying Corey, America, and Bowie have an alliance. She said that they're targeting Matt, Jag, and Blue and using Felicia to do their bidding. Bowie says that she's going into lawyer mode. I'd like to see it. Can we get a clip of Bowie Jane in the courtroom with the glitter glue in the hair? So the show shows that Bowie, Corey, and America are actually really close, and I'll admit I was wrong about that. I didn't know that they were so close. Felicia tells us that now that she's survived the block 3 times, she wants to be a little bit more strategic. Corey says he's not doing great in the game. This is true. Now he just lost the HOH and maybe he can make something work with Bowie since they just got thrown under the bus together. The show flashes back to Corey pitching Mimi being the target to Cameron and Jag actually having to convince Cameron to be on board to get Mimi out because Cameron hates Corey. Cameron didn't really need to be convinced since he wasn't voting, but okay. They all agree to say great idea Corey and then frame Corey for coming up with the idea to evict Mimi. Jag is relishing the fact that he and Matt are in the middle of the Corey and Cameron feud. Felicia and Cirie speculate on what Bowie will do as the HOH. They don't feel confident. Cirie doesn't feel good about it. She acknowledges that she screwed Bowie over and their relationship has never recovered. Jag, America, Corey, Bowie, and Matt rage in the bathroom to celebrate Bowie winning HOH. Bowie feels like she can trust Matt and Jag. It seems to me like they're her number ones because they've really been investing time and energy into her. Bowie says that everyone thinks she's going to go with the flow, but if she needs to make a big decision, she won't be afraid to because she's playing her own game. Blue and Cirie touch base, and Blue talks about how she misses Jared, and now Cirie is her number one ally, and she can trust her. Cirie appreciates it and will put her trust in Blue in return. Just want to point out, I'm looking through my notes, this episode is like no fun. It is all serious business from the start of the episode to the end. More strategizing. Corey doesn't trust Cameron, so he wants Bowie to nominate Blue and Cameron. America agrees, and they try to convince Jag and Matt to be on the same page. Jag and Matt are reluctant. Cameron walks in, and they tell Cameron that they're talking about nominations. He says, "Are one of you secretly HOH?" And this awkward interaction brings us to commercial. We get a scene of Jag showing Blue, Matt, and Cam a turban tying tutorial, which is narrated more by the other house guests in the diary room than it is by Jag, and this scene could have been much more educational, but it ends up just being the 3 white people narrating the scene more than Jag, and the big takeaway is that Bowie thinks that it's very neat and seems like you did a good job. I feel like this entire scene should have only been narrated by Jag. It's his story, let him tell it. Also, I feel like we get personal content from Jag once every like 2 weeks, and the show is really not interested in Jag outside of his culture. And this isn't a knock on Jag at all, it's a knock on the show. I feel like sometimes they just see the house guests as so 2-dimensionally, and they could really work on some more 3-dimensional storytelling. Who are these people outside of who you saw in the casting room or what we see visually? And I'm kind of jumping around here, but a good example of 3-dimensional storytelling is later on in the episode, Felicia opens up about being in an abusive relationship where he punched her and broke her tooth, and she decided to join the Air Force as a way to save herself. She has such a great message here to seek help, and I love Felicia. And when the show takes a break from portraying Felicia as a silly older woman in a t-shirt dress who keeps dropping her microphone in the toilet, we actually get some really great, refreshing content. So back to the insufferable strategizing. Blue, Cirie, and Felicia are scheming against Corey and America to get them nominated. They decide their best path to be saved is to convince Matt and Jag that AmeriCorey should be the target. Cirie calls AmeriCorey Core America. It's obvious that the diary room is really pushing this Co-America nickname, but no one is saying that. Stop trying to make Co-America happen. Cirie and Felicia try to make a final four with Matt and Jag, another idea that Jag doesn't really like. Jag is very picky about his plans. This episode is just a ring around the rosy of what everyone wants, but none of the conversations so far include Bowie. Matt and Jag sync up to plan how they think Bowie's HOH should go. They settle on AmeriCorey's idea of Cam leaving being the best idea, and they take the idea to Bowie. Bowie smartly wants to make sure she isn't being manipulated. Even though Matt and Jag are her closest allies, they are slyly trying to influence Bowie to target Cam. She says she's not going to target Cam. Bowie starts having meetings to see what kind of tea she can get everyone to spill. Everyone throws names out to Bowie to be her nominations, which is great. She does a good job of seeing how everyone's ideas serve themselves more than they serve her. The nomination ceremony is pretty unremarkable. Bowie nominates Felicia and Suri, which are noms that show that Bowie is pretty free thinking and didn't go along with what everyone wanted her to do. And these two had wronged her in the past. She's left with a few backdoor options on the table still without pissing off the stronger competition threats. She wraps up with joking, when in doubt, blame Corey, but I didn't get the joke. Maybe it's an inside-y. Then she walks away the wrong way and they all laugh, which I guess is supposed to be funny, but I didn't crack a smile. Suri says if she stays on the block, we'll see her powers of persuasion in action. And Felicia gives a shout out to her trusty mustard seed once again. We also get confessionals from Matt and Cameron after the HOH and nominees confessionals at the end of the episode, but why? Call me a confessional purist, but the episode ends with the HOH confessional, the two nominees confessional, and tune in on Wednesday to see who won the power of veto. But I can't even be a scheduling purist because the episode is on Tuesday, so we get to the Tuesday episode. Bowie says that right now Suri is her target because she's a winner threat. Suri is finally playing in her first veto. Felicia says that she's been put up by fucking Bowie Jane and calls Bowie Jane a fake facade. Corey, Jag, and Bowie chat and Corey suggests a Cameron backdoor. Bowie says it's dirty and she wants to keep her hands clean. She doesn't want to do anything to him unless he does something to her. I kind of like this from Bowie because it seemed like she was just wanting a reason. Jag says his ideal final five are he, Matt, Bowie, Suri, and Felicia with clear intent of the two men steamrolling the final few competitions. In a one-on-one, Bowie tells Cameron that she doesn't want to do a backdoor and wants to keep her hands clean. He encourages her to backdoor Corey. Jag and Matt meet to talk about how Bowie is not down. They want to figure out a way to turn Bowie against Cameron so she'll have a reason to nominate him. Getting to the veto draw, Matt, Jag, and America get drawn to play. Cameron starts getting a weird feeling about Bowie after what Mimi said on her way out. Cam goes to Jag to talk about Bowie. This was a big blunder from Cameron because then Jag announces to us that now he's going to use this against Cameron. He goes right to Bowie to tell her that Cam is suspicious of her, and suddenly Bowie has her reason. They get a transmission from the Scrambleverse and Zingbot shows up. Apparently Zingbot from the Scrambleverse is nice and calls them all beautiful. Then Zingbot pulls their leg up on the balcony and gets a very suggestive with the balcony, and I am uncomfortable. Here are some of the zings and what I think about them. America is under arrest for robbing the cradle. I'll give this one a haha. Zingbot says that Felicia is wrinkled. She is not wrinkled. Blue agrees. She says that Felicia does not raisin even one bit. I give this a boo hiss tomato tomato, you could have done better. Jag is less like a Jaguar, more like a Bourvette or an Aston Moron and a Lamborghini. This is just a hee 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 for me. Zingbot says that Me Cole put him into a me coma. This is crickets. Leave Mimi alone. Also, I know there's a writer's strike, but whatever unpaid intern wrote these jokes and the previously on is still trying to come up with a joke about Mimi's name. Matt has similar intelligence to a cardboard cutout. This one is like a Suri can finally do what she does best, lose while on an island. This is a hee-hee and would be a hee-hee-hee if Zingbot wasn't plagiarizing Cameron's joke from 3 episodes ago. Cameron has received a military promotion from Lieutenant Loser to Major fucking Tool. This I'll give a skis. Zingbot sings a song reading Corey to absolute filth, insulting his height, his mustache, his kissing, and says, let's throw him in the sea. Dang, Zingbot wants Corey dead, and I see the effort in this writing. Zingbot has a set decorated with pictures of all pre- and early jurors, but also Victoria. Victoria should not have been included in this set decoration. She is not a loser, she is a winner because she survived that crow incident. Zingbot says this is a collage of the ultimate losers. This comes across as very mean-spirited. Zingy is going to describe a loser that's been evicted this season. They have to find the picture of the right loser, and each round someone will be eliminated. Oh, by the way, Zingbot is also Otev, and both of these things should be retired. In round 1, America flops over a log, and they show it in slow motion with a banana peel sound and a honk. Suri comes back first, but eventually realizes that she has the wrong photos, so she heads back out, but by the time she comes back, it's too late, so Suri is eliminated, and she tells us that she just wants one game that she doesn't look like an idiot in. Zingbot slimes them with yucky red slime, and we're on to round 2. They have to get Kirsten's photo. They all come back around the same time, but America drops her photo down the slide, which allows Felicia to pass her, so America is eliminated. Felicia announces it's time for round 3, baby. They have to find Izzy, and Felicia can't make it up the ramp in time and is eliminated. You did a great job, baby. She's proud of herself, and she feels like she showed she ain't old and wrinkled. Round 3 on gets boring because no Felicia. They have to find Jared, and Matt gets eliminated. I hope this is the last time I'm saying this, but the final 2 are Jag and Bowie. Jag gets back first and wins his 3rd veto, which is a pretty big accomplishment. Jag swings his his veto at us and says, "TikTok, Cameron, your time is up." Cameron meets with Bowie and she's being cagey because she clearly plans to nominate him. Cameron says to nominate Corey and he tells her that she's putting up the person who's kept her safe for weeks, which I think is a fair point. The episode ends with a cliffhanger before the veto ceremony. Why? It's truly for no reason. So we get to the Thursday episode. Julie is wearing a slick back ponytail with Velma glasses and a brown cowl neck tank top and blue long dungarees frayed at the cuff, surfboard earrings, and a big wooden beaded shark tooth necklace. Why? This truly might be her worst outfit of all time. This is an atrocity and she's worn some real clunkers throughout the years. It's day 68 in the house and Cameron is pleading to Jack and Matt to keep the nominations the same. They are not really receptive at all and he can tell. At the veto meeting that they simply needed to wait to show us, Jag decides to use the veto on Felicia and she giddily skips up to accept that veto necklace in her peach t-shirt dress. Bowie quickly nominates Cameron and I'm wondering how the show is going to try to make us believe that they even contemplated not voting Cameron out this week. At the ceremony, Cameron is pissy. He says Bowie has shown him her character. She says, "Yup, and I'm proud of it." She walks away. Felicia DRs that she knows who she's evicting. She's evicting Cameron all day. In the DR, Cameron says, "Et tu, Bowie Tay, et tu, Jag." I would truly pay admission into Cameron's brain. Cerie says that she feels good about being on the block next to Cameron. Cameron decides to go on a smear campaign against Matt and Jag, telling everyone that they're about to get steamrolled, which I think is kind of true. He starts with Blue, but Blue in the diary room says, "You want me to go after Matt and Jag to save your dusty ass? Girl, you got the wrong number." He moves his campaign onto Corey, who also doesn't care. There's a scene of Matt talking about how hard it is when people are whispering in the house, which does seem extremely difficult, and they're always whispering. In the group, Matt gets frustrated. He goes up to HOH to hang out and he cries to Jag about it, and Jag is a great friend and comforts Matt. Felicia also gives Matt a really great pep talk. In the kitchen, Cameron talks about how much he stands Kevin Costner and has seen every movie he's ever made. Felicia tells us, "Cameron, Kevin Costner isn't watching this, but Mr. Costner, if by any chance you're watching this and want to make Bodyguard 2, call me." Cerie asks Cameron for advice. Cameron tells her that she should target Matt and Jag. He lays the game out for her, and Cameron is a terrible player, but he understands the full layout of the house. Cerie relays this to her closest ally, Blue. Now, when Blue hears this information from Cerie, Blue no longer wants to say, "Dusty, crusty, musty, disgust me." Cerie, the nominee, goes to Matt and Jag and tells them to target Amara Corey. Then she goes to Corey and insinuates to him to target Matt and Jag. Cerie is on the block and also HOH at the same time. In the diary room, Cerie says, "Y'all go against each other," while Cerie sneaks her way to the end like she always does. We get to the nominee speeches. Cerie, who looks exquisite, tells Julie that she looks exquisite. Cameron also says Julie looks so exquisite. Bowie Jane has a lot of glitter glue in her hair tonight, and she truly is the adult JoJo Siwa. We get to the votes, and Matt tells Julie that she looks exquisite. Blue goes to say the same thing, but messes it up. Julie says it's quite the word this evening. Julie is thrown off her game at this point. Felicia and Jag follow suit. Julie decides to switch things up on him, and she tells America that she looks exquisite. Then, cocky Julie gets owned when she says to Corey, "Corey, how do I look?" And Corey says, "Good." Oh, by the way, they all voted to evict Cameron, and he leaves. Cameron tells the audience that they look exquisite. Cam takes accountability in his interviews and is a good sport. I like him a lot more when he's out of the game. He shouts out Red, and do y'all think that Red is watching this? Because I don't. So Cameron is the first member of the jury. Julie announces that it's BB Comic Week, and the BB power of multiplicity will affect the veto comp, so 2 vetoes maybe? They're all sent upstairs to find out that a meteor has crashed into the HOH room, so maybe there will be no HOH this week. So with that, this week we say goodbye to Cameron. I originally, in my first impressions, ranked Cameron as 10th out of the original 16. I'd mentioned that I thought he looked like a young Santa Claus, and I felt like he was too much of an emotional person to do well in Big Brother. I had him rated as 7 out of 9 because I really didn't think that Bowie Jane would evict him this week. So originally I had him placed as 10th, and he leaves here in 9th place. Here's the good about Cameron. He's great at competitions, not just because of athletic ability, but he's a really smart guy and he's really great under pressure. I think he can look at an obstacle or puzzle and see exactly how it needs to be in the end before he begins. And for the most part, he was very aware of his surroundings. There wasn't really anything that he was missing or not seeing about the strategy in the game, but he's not very self-aware, which I guess gets me into the bad about Cameron, is that he was just such an unlikable person to the other house guests that nobody really ever wanted him in their alliance, despite him being such a great competitor and a lone wolf that people really should have been trying to work with. Add on to that he makes people feel uncomfortable both by accident and on purpose, where he admitted that his strategy was to look into people's eyes long enough that they would just tell him things. That is just strange behavior. I was actually really surprised in the beginning of the game that he somehow found himself himself in the family style alliance. And if it weren't for Jared and Cerie's secret relationship being the reason that that alliance didn't work out, Cameron probably ends up in a better place in the game. But what ends up happening is Cameron isolating himself with Red, which isolated them from the group and pretty much just became the downfall of Red. Then once Red is evicted, it begins the saga of them trying to get Cameron out, with Cameron winning almost every competition for like 2 months. And I'm just really tired of seeing one person win everything. It's so boring, and to an extent I resent Cameron for that. I do expect to see him again, but probably not on Big Brother. I definitely think he'll end up on the Challenge USA, maybe even the Challenge main show. Hate to say it, I would kind of like to see Cameron and Red on The Amazing Race. But goodbye Cameron, I know we'll see you soon, like it or not. So getting into some rankings, I do this based on where things end at the end of the Thursday night episode. So we currently have no HOH. At number 8, I have Corey. The house structure is a war between AmeriCorey and Matt and Jag, and I do think that Matt and Jag are more likely to win HOH, which means that Corey could most likely be nominated with America. If he doesn't win veto, I do believe he'll go home. So last week I had him at 9th, and this week I have him in last again at 8th. At number 7, I have Felicia, and I can see Felicia making it far right now, even the final 2, but I don't know how much she can really pull off in the game that she can claim in the end to actually win the game, but she's exceeded my expectations so far and could impress me. I want her to be higher, I really do. What could get her higher up is if she could be the reason that Matt or Jag go home. She's already won HOH and evicted Heisem. I think if she wins one more HOH and evicts a big threat, she'll be in a really good place. At number 6, I have Kitty Kitty Purr, Blue. Blue has all the information that she needs to do well, but isn't really doing anything with it. She's been saying and been acting like she's here to make big moves, but she just hasn't. And will she? I'm beginning to lose hope. At number 5, I have America, and America could go home this week. If she and Corey are nominated and Corey wins the veto, maybe she goes, but also maybe the replacement nominee goes. I think if America is nominated against Blue, Blue probably goes. Another big edge that America has over Blue is that America has made moves in the game. She really masterminded the Izzy eviction, which really did end up destroying the other side of the house. I keep saying this, but if she could win some competitions, she really has a chance of winning. I am kind of starting to lose faith that she can win a competition though, which is concerning. So this is a big jump up for America because last week I had her in 8th. At number 4, I have Jag, who was number 2 last week, but talk about evicting him is intensifying and people are getting annoyed with him. And if he's in the final 2 with anyone else that's there, I think he loses. So his game is downward trending. Add on top of that the fact that he might get evicted this week if he's on the block next to Matt, but I think he's likely enough to win HOH or veto to save himself, especially if there's 2 vetoes. So I feel actually really good about his long-term prospects, but I don't feel good about him winning. At number 3, I have Bowie, who last week was 4th. Bowie is lodged in a great place in the house. Nobody's targeting her. Her initial nominations were what were best for her game, and she was influenced by Matt and Jag to nominate Cameron, but she really did that ish, and her final nominees were Cameron and Cerie, so FBJ really didn't have a weak HOH. She really has a chance to play to win, but we'll see what she does with it. At number 2, I have Matt, who last week was number 1, but this week was very bad for his game. He and Jag convinced Bowie to make their big move for them, but they won't get credit for it. She will. And Cameron was not targeting them. He was going to be loyal to Matt and Jag. On the way out, Cameron slandered both their names, and there's a bit too much negativity in the air to keep up Matt's golden boy narrative that I've been pushing. But I don't know if the other house guests have enough time and stamina to get Matt if they plan on getting Jag first. At number 1, I have Cerie, who last week I had 2nd. I think the fact that Cerie was on the block, but also completely running the house and holding meetings like she was HOH just goes to show that she's climbed back up in power in the house. Thinking about the story of Cerie this season, she comes in, she's such a front runner, she has an entire army of people. She has her literal son and Izzy, her adopted daughter, there helping her. I literally thought that Cerie's alliance would be the final 7. Then she loses Izzy, she loses Jared, she's in a terrible place in the game, she has a complete fall from grace. She lays low for a few weeks and then ends up being in the complete middle between 2 warring factions. So for me, she's back at number 1, but not because she is the leader of this big mob, but because she's playing a really good solo game now. The best thing that could happen for her is if they can evict Corey this week, because I think that Corey is the only person in there that sees Cerie as somebody that needs to be evicted. Once they get Corey out, I feel like Cerie can round up America and the rest of the ladies. Cerie's ideal situation right now is evict all the men. I'm here for it. I'm team evict all the men. Cerie really needs to start thinking about who she wants to be in the final 3 with. I guess the big con that we're all waiting for here is, can Cerie convince someone to take her to the final 2? I think if she can convince one of these fools to take her to the final 2, it would put a bow on her entire CBS reality TV career. So let me know in the comments, do you think that Cerie can pull off convincing someone to take her to the finals? Also, I love chitting and chatting with you in the comments, so say hi if you listen regularly. Also, feel free to follow and engage with me on my socials because I have nothing better to do. And don't forget to subscribe if you like the video. I'll be back next week to talk about more Big Brother. Until then, have a nice weekend. And remember when Red said blank blank? Okay, I'm out here, y'all. Peace, peace, peace.